Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 224 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And today we have a solo episode. Well, it's not really solo. We have a Front Seat Fridays episode. It's actually being released on a Thursday, but the topic of this episode is starting over is okay. So today you guys are going to hear a conversation between my friend Mary and I. You guys have heard Mary on previous episodes of the show. We met up a few weeks ago to work on a creative project that Mary was doing. And we decided, well, Mary kind of pushed me to test this car interview concept that I've had for a while, but I've never actually done. So I want to start doing interviews in cars. So I said, you know what, Mary, let's go outside. Let's record something. So we got in my car, set up my iPhone, and just started having a conversation and recording it while we did it. So that's what you guys are going to hear today. The audio is not the best, but I think when you are testing out concepts, don't always think about trying to be perfect. I really sat on this content for a while because I was like, you know what? It's not the best or no one will want to listen to it. But hey guys, the content and the substance is there. We talk about this idea of starting over. It's something that, Mary has done in her own career. She was a business consultant and now she's working in fashion and textiles. And I know a lot of you guys are often debating whether or not you should start over and pursue this dream that you have. So hopefully hearing Mary's stories will help you, and also hearing me give some tips and insight on what you can do if you're scared to take a leap or if you want to explore something new but don't know where to start. This episode is going to really give you some context and some motivation on how you can do that along your own dream driving journey. Before we get to the episode, remember, please make sure that you're subscribed to us wherever you're listening. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. Those mean a lot. And make sure that you're following us on social. We are Dreams and Drive across the board. Screenshot this episode if you find it interesting. I also want to let you guys know that if you want to see the video, you want to see me and Mary talking and actually seeing how this concept turns out, how it looks, you can always view this video on YouTube. So just go to youtube.com/dreamsanddrive or on our Instagram TV channel. I'm also going to have it linked in the show notes. So if you go to dreamsanddrive.com and click on episode 224, you can find it there. And remember, if you want to support Dreams and Drive, I get this question a lot. How can we support? We love the show. We want to, help out in some way. You can go to dreamsanddrive.com/donate. You can look at the different options. We do have a very strong Patreon community. So thank you to everybody who is contributing $5 a month to the show. It goes a long way. I appreciate you. All right, let's get into this episode. Hey guys, welcome to Front Seat Fridays, and today we are going to be talking about something that I think a lot of people can resonate with, which is the idea of starting over. Whether you're starting afresh and it's new, whether you're doing something for a long time and you realize you want to change careers, you want to pursue a new passion, it's very, very scary to go from doing something you've always done to taking a risk, to taking a leap, and going into new territory, Mary. So we have Mary here. You guys may recognize her voice from some of your favorite past episodes.
No, just listener Mary. It's listener Mary.
Anyway, we're going to be talking about this idea of starting over, Mary. Have you ever started over in your life?
Yeah, definitely. And
when was that?
Well, I think it's never felt quite so dramatic to me as starting over. It's always been like baby steps, but usually in a very new direction. And before I know it, I found myself in a whole different space than I was in before.
Okay.
But I had to do it that way for me because I couldn't just take a full leap off the ledge and like into something brand new.
So what was the thing that you were doing previously?
So I would say, like, if I was to connect the dots, I mean, I studied science and I'm working now in garments, textiles, fashion, like more kind of the art route. If you look at all my baby steps, I kind of eased my way in, but those two things are quite different.
Yeah. So you were studying science. Why did you choose to do science in the first place? Was that your passion, or was that something that you just thought you had to do?
It was interesting. I did well in the courses, and it was one of the practical routes that I had been aware of. The school that we went to, it's not like they had a well-renowned arts or design program, so it just kind of seemed like, I'm here, scientists they're good here, I do decently well in those courses, let me do it. But that wasn't quite enough.
Because you didn't go into, you didn't go to med school after college. You went into management consulting or business consulting, right? Did you feel like that was your place? Did you feel...
I felt like it was a little closer because it was... Well, consulting wasn't quite entrepreneurial, but the idea of kind of trying to create a business and stand it up and, you know, water it so it thrives, you're edging closer and closer to this sense of autonomy, like kind of, I don't want to say independent thinking because it's possible to be a collaborative thinker in the creative space, but just the idea of trying stuff out and creating things. Yeah. And that happens in the sciences, don't get me wrong. Like the scientific process and the artistic process to me feel very aligned. But I just knew I wasn't quite ready to go to graduate school or commit to a research lab, and I just wanted to see what else was out there. So I was taking all of those baby steps to figure it out.
And when you spent, did you spend 4 years at the company?
3 years.
3 years? And then you said...
Wait, are we going to do a bio about...
No, we're not.
Okay.
I'm getting, listen guys, I'm getting to it. So how did it feel when you finally decided to leave and to go into the world of fashion and actually work in a fashion house? Because for a lot of people, they may be, you know, let's say they're in higher education, right? But they really want to get into music, or they really want to get into something else, and they're looking for new jobs, they're looking for a way to get in. Do you just remember that moment where you're like, all right, this is my opportunity to see if this new thing is what I want?
The thing is, it never felt so climactic because I had taken so many baby steps, and as much as I could, tried to make the jump in a way that didn't feel so like dramatic to me.
Okay.
So there was never a moment where I was like, oh shit, this is the biggest jump of my life. It was always like, okay, I'm edging closer and closer. Yes, this seems more aligned with what I'm interested in. Yes, this seems more aligned with what I'm interested in. I get deeper, learn more, pivot a little bit, get deeper, learn more, pivot a little bit, and then before I know it, I'm in a completely different field.
So you would suggest that people kind of like ease themselves into it if they can?
It depends on your nature. If you are risk tolerant, then maybe you can jump in fully, but I know that's not me.
Yeah.
And for me, I just needed to bring myself along. And so that was what I required. But it's different for different people.
So when you were in this new environment, you were starting over afresh, like, how did you make sure that you were staying supported? Or you were, I'm trying to say, like, how did you make sure that you didn't go back? Because it could be easy. It could be real tempting, right? Was it tempting?
I had people in my corner. And this is one advice that I think is so important. Like, just surround yourself with people who know who you communicated, like, the things that you hope for, the things that mean something to you, your value systems, so they can remind you. Because sometimes you're deep in something and you're like, oh, this is easy, let me keep going here. Or like, this is convenient, let me keep going here. When really what you need to do is, you know, you've learned all you need to learn in that place. It's time for you to step out and continue on, you know, forge on the path ahead, even though it might be more difficult.
Yeah.
So I would say the thing that kept me grounded was all of the people in my life who just helped remind me, like, you know, you're pushing towards something, you know, maybe beyond this, or maybe it is staying in this thing for longer, but also it might be outside of that. So be open to that. And don't ever feel like, you know, you just got to stay where you are.
What advice would you give to that person who is thinking about making the leap and is scared? And think about it from all ages. You know, there's people who may be older than us who are doing it, people who are younger than us, people who are our age. What's that one thing that you think unites everyone who's going through this?
Know you're not alone. And
right?
Know what you're asking of yourself is not... say it's not the end of the world, but sometimes it's nice to know that, like, no, this doesn't have to be a life or death decision.
Yeah.
It's not a crazy thing.
Yeah.
You know, this is you pursuing something that's important to you in a way that aligns with your value system and the way that you live, right? And that just kind of takes a lot of the pressure off of, like, oh shit, I gotta make it, I gotta, like, hustle and grind, and if it doesn't materialize, I've wasted my life.
It's interesting because two people, so I've been doing these carpools, these feedback calls with listeners, and two people said this. They were like, they're both different ages, but they both said, I don't want to go into my age period here, right? My 30s, my 40s, and never even tried. Because there's that regret of, like, what if you had stayed in business consulting for the rest of your life and you never pursued fashion, never pursued your other interests? I'd rather would have at least tried and realized it wasn't for me and pivot than to always have that what if. So I feel like, listen, guys, don't try or listen to yourself, because I think that idea of what if can really drive you crazy. And there are ways to test it out, even if you're in your current environment. Maybe you can't make the switch right now. Maybe it's not feasible. Maybe it doesn't make sense. But like Mary was saying, like, you can do little things. You can put your foot in the water. You can experiment. You can take the weekends to explore things. Like, there's so many ways you can get your feet wet, even if you can't yet make that big leap. So.
And I think also sometimes that moment of reflection is also about arriving at a point where you're happy with the life that you're living, whether it's, you know, pursuing a professional passion or not. Because I also think, like, dream driving can also be like owning your own home and raising a beautiful family. It could be, you know, recycling consistently and like taking care of an animal excellently. It could be staying in touch with your relatives. And I think for me, especially now that I'm you know, back at home with my family now, I am one of those people who derives a lot of joy from professional passions, but I also really appreciate the fulfillment that comes from like watering the relationships I have with the people who have been around me. Whether that comes with like, you know, like we hustling and making money together or not.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, and so I'm realizing now, even as I get older, where my value system is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This was a quick little chat, and I really enjoyed it.
Me too. Was it casual enough?
I feel like it was, right?
I hope so.
I think it was good. All right.
How did you, before we go, how did you feel about some of the stuff that we did today, just like the play and experimentation?
Oh, yes, we did play around today, and you're working on a project. You know, you're so secretive. I don't even know what it is. It might be part of something bigger, something smaller, who knows? But we did something today that it made me realize two things made me realize. I like being, not a guinea pig to other people's projects, but I like being part of a team. I like being directed, because sometimes it's somebody who's always the one who has to come up with the idea and always trying to pitch projects to other people. It's nice being in like the driver, in the passenger seat, and being part of somebody else's dream. Yeah. So I was very happy that you allowed me to be part of your projects. I can't wait to see the end of it. And it's also just makes me realize that these are things that I've loved since childhood. Like, I've loved dressing up. I've loved creative concepts, figuring things out, executing on those creative ideas. So
did it make you nervous that I didn't have everything outlined when we started?
I mean, I just trusted your instinct. Okay. So you didn't make me nervous because I trusted that you were figuring it out. And I also kind of like not having the pressure of having to think about what's next. Like, at the end of the day, it's up to you what you want. And I'm just here to kind of be what's the word?
Vessel?
Yeah, like, not a vessel, but you know, like, I don't know if this is a lazy thing to say, but I like just not having to think about what's supposed to be part of it, but giving you feedback, but not having to be responsible for the final image. Like, kind of like a model. And I'm like a tool. I'm like a... No, I don't mean it in that way. Like,
I hear what you're saying.
Like, you
we
get what I'm
can't
trying.
Find the word. We can't.
There's a better word. There's a better word. Most definitely, there's a better word. Okay. Bye, guys. Keep dreaming, keep driving as always. Bye-bye. All right, so that's a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed hearing me and Mary just talk about this idea of starting over. I think it's something that you've probably considered at one time along your dream driving journey. When is the right time to make a pivot, to make a switch? How do you navigate it? The questions and the answers will always be open-ended. There's so much more we could have talked about. But as I said, this is a short episode, Front Seat Fridays, and it's just to get your mind percolating about these thoughts and ideas. And hopefully you can have these conversations with other people in your life. And it doesn't just have to stop at listening to this episode. If you want to check out the actual video from this conversation and see how we looked as we were talking, go to our Instagram TV channel, or you can search Dreams and Drive on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Dreams and Drive and you can watch the video there. I want to start doing more concepts. So if you have any feedback, any ideas on how I can make this concept better, please always reach out to me. I love getting your DMs on Instagram, or you can send me an email, Rana@dreamsanddrive.com. If you love this episode, you guys know what I'm going to say. Please share it with a friend. Tag us, screenshot, repost. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. If you want to join our weekly newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly emails from me, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's leaving rating and reviews. If you're listening in on Apple Podcasts specifically, those ratings mean a lot, and that's how other people learn about the show. So shout out to Essence of Ash. I'm going to read to you guys what she said. She said, "Thank you. This was a great podcast. I really enjoyed it. The part that stuck out most to me was that you have to know what you don't like, which often means you must go through a tough experience in order to understand the meaning of what you like, which you'll understand why because of experience." Powerful. I don't know what episode she was referring to. Maybe that was the most recent one. Maybe that was the one with Craig Robinson. I don't know, but thank you so much, Ash, for leaving that, because it helps me see just how strong of an impact these shows have on dream drivers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm always looking for new and unique stories to have on the podcast. So if you know somebody, or if you are somebody who wants to be on the show, please send me a pitch, dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. I do read all pitches. I'm not always able to respond to everyone's pitch. So if you do get a reply back to me, that means I would love to move forward in booking and talking to you and doing the next steps in the interview booking process. But please still pitch me, because I'm always getting ideas, and having a portfolio or having a database of everybody who wants to be on the show is really helpful. There have been times where I've scrolled back like to a year back in the database and have been able to pull somebody for something. So make sure, even if I don't have you on the show right now, that you submit yourself there so I have your information and everything for future projects, because you never know. All right, guys, keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 225. Bye.